Today is my Charla's Chat, my solo Wednesday, and here we go. Today, you're going to get 31 daily practices. We're going to start this journey with my book that was published in 2023 on my 70th birthday. Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 daily practices. And we'll get through some of those chapters today. But first,
facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Well, good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of The Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. But first, we're going to take our 22-second mini vacation. We're going to breathe in some calm for 7 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. So join me, please. Let's breathe in our calm. Hold. Relax, release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ooh. Gratitude is the key. There are 3 chapters on gratitude in this little book, Split Second Transformation. I just had thought, back in the beginning of my show in 2023, I read Candy Bar Hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. It's a 25-minute read on Audible, and it's a tiny book with big messages. Unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. One of the quotes I use all the time was in that book. So today I am going to read, I'm actually going to read from my autographed copy, my grandbaby's autograph. Oh yeah, I'm using my autographed copy of my grandbabies today. So really, I'm just going to dive into some of these words here, right? So initially, when I was writing this back in I completed Candy Bar Hugs in 2017 and self-published it in December 2017. In 2018, I began writing Split Second Transformation. I didn't complete it, but the end of that year, and by January of 2019, I had written 16 of these 31 chapters. What stopped me from writing further? I don't know. But it might have been just for such a time as this, because on my 70th birthday in 2023, November 30th, I actually launched this book, and it was a struggle for me to write some of those chapters at the end. I don't know why, but I do believe it's timely and important because every word matters, and that's the truth. So I'm going to have my glasses on for this, I'm sure, and I wish I had a little better lighting over here for this, but Donna Blevins wrote the foreword, and guess what? Tom Ziegler and Paula Fellingham and Nancy Matthews and Leanne Lyon, some amazing people did some endorsements for me too. So great. It's just great. This is an important work for me, and I believe every word matters. So I'm going to just tell you a little bit. Let's just start with chapter 1. Change your words, change your life. Isn't that interesting? So words matter. Every word matters. You've heard it, but do you really believe it? Actually, you create your life with your words. I'll give you some simple tests to begin proving it to yourself. When you say the words, I'm so tired, or I'm beat, or I'm exhausted, which you probably are in that moment, if you change that one word to I'm refreshed, I'm energized. I'm pumped. Something kind of magical happens. Your body doesn't necessarily change in that moment, or does it? But somehow there's a slight shift in your mind, and in your mood. Even if you don't believe it, it still works in one split second. It's not your thoughts. It's are your feelings, are your circumstances that create your life. It's your words. Saying something like, I'm always late, or this job sucks, or I hate people who, will just bring you more late, sucky jobs and people to hate. It's a universal law. Upset draws upset. Love attracts love. That's really a strong word, hate, right? So hate attracts more of the same. You truly become what you speak. Yes, it may feel like you're lying to yourself. Actually, you are training yourself to only speak what you want, not what you don't want. Yes, change your words, change your life in one split second. I'm going to comment on this because since this book was published, I was reminded about the definition of the word want. The definition of the word want, one of the definitions is extreme lack. So since then, since I remembered that and understand that I use the word, I would change this now to speak what you desire, not what you don't. And the reason, think about this, speak what you desire, which means of the Father, of sire, the Father, or the giver. Speak what you desire, and you may receive the desires of your heart. So that will be in a subsequent version when I update this book someday. But that is, I mean, these are tiny chapters. Look at this. Can you see it? If many of you are listening and not watching, but they're just one little page chapters here. So speak what you want, not what you don't want. Speak what you desire, not what you don't. That's critical because every word matters. So chapter 2, we're going to go with chapter 2 already. Be still and know. You can meditate anywhere, anytime. In just a few seconds, a few breaths, standing in line, driving in a meeting. There's a great misunderstanding about meditation, having to force concentration and clear all your thoughts, which is nearly impossible. The incessant chatter, I call mine Charla's chatterbox or Charla's chatter, never shuts up. And if you don't think you have a voice in your head, it's the one that just told you, I don't have a voice in my head. When I first heard that, it cracked me up because everybody's going, what voice, what voice? And it's like, oh, that one. Yeah. And it can only say what you've already experienced, intent on keeping you safe in your past. Instead of trying to get rid of all the thoughts and emotions, let them just float through like clouds, smiling at them like an inquisitive child, while giving your chatterbox a job to do. Ask your chatterbox to please watch your breath. Be aware of your breaths, breathing in and out, in and out. Let the thoughts come and go in the background while you're focused on your breaths, which keeps you in the now. You can always start with the words, thank you. Gratitude opens all the doors into abundance in one split second. I envision bright lightness when I breathe in calmness, relax, and then release tightness with love and gratitude as I exhale. Focus on your mind's eye, between your eyebrows. That's your pineal gland. That's your third eye. It's there, and it has all knowledge. Not all that's in the book. Even 2 or 3 breaths can center you and let your heart hear what your spirit wants you to know. Practice Breathe in calm for 7 seconds, hold for 4, and breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. It's a 22-second mini vacation. Where have you heard that before? Practicing split-second meditation throughout the day will help you stay grounded and intentional on what is important amid all the noise out there. Be still. Breathe. Know. Chapter 2. Be still and know. I know if you listen to me much, you've heard a lot of this stuff because I kind of quote my own stuff, right? Chapter 3. Chapter 3. We have win, win, win. When you enter any conversation or transaction or disagreement with a win, win, win attitude, there are no losers. Wouldn't the world be a better place if empathy and perspective and understanding were the norm in our relationships? More cooperation and collaboration with less competition still raise the tide so we can all win. We'll raise the tide. Goodness. I need bigger glass, stronger glasses. More cooperation and collaboration with less competition will raise the tide so that we can all win. There are almost 8 billion people on this planet, plenty of clients for everyone, plenty of friends for everyone. And in this country, with all the noise, kindness and compassionate service is the new competitive advantage. Thought about that? Kindness and compassionate service is a competitive advantage. The vast majority of disagreements are really over just a few details. Often it's our pride, not the actual issue, that wants to win at all costs. It may take some effort, but choose to look for the common ground. Choose to respect the other person as the created human being with their own perspectives and challenges, just like you. Let's change the Jerry Springer mentality of I'm right, you're wrong, or I'm going to hit you over the head and sue you. Totally pathetic. Pathetic. As my mama said, always take the high road. And when it's hard, always take the high road. Always allow the other to save face without demeaning or humiliating or gossiping. Yes, having a win-win-win world is possible. You may not be able to change the world, but you can change your world, which changes the world. And you can do that by choosing to stand for the win-win-win in every situation. Then we all win. It's a choice, a conscious practice, or a split-second decision to choose win-win-win. And then the bottom line, we can all win with a win-win-win attitude. I'm going to tell you a little story about win-win. My sister, Shirley, my late sister, owned a Century 21 office on the square in the tiny town near here, and for decades. And as a realtor, a broker, it's pretty unheard of not to have litigation now and then. Her mindset was always, how can we find the win-win-win? So, nobody is just devastatedly lost. I love that. I don't think she ever actually had a lawsuit that went to court and had all the drama, around all that. She found the win-win, and she loved people through. I just love that about my late sister Shirley books. And, she left a lot of good legacy around with me and all of us. Sorely, sorely missed. Love you, Shirley. Thanks for watching over me. Chapter 4. Once again, isn't it kind of fun, these tiny chapters? What if you had this by your bed or on your desk and just kind of picked it up and read some of these every day? All month long. So this chapter 4 is called, Isn't That Interesting? Isn't that interesting? Consider adding a simple question whenever you are confronted by a differing opinion or belief or attitude. When you feel defensiveness or anger or even just disagreement arising, take a breath and ask yourself, isn't that interesting? If someone says the world is round and you know it's flat, instead of reacting with how you're feeling, simply asking questions like, isn't that interesting? Tell me more. How did you come to that opinion or that conclusion? Asking questions opens the door for some real conversation, some discourse, discussion, and even learning something new. It opens the door for further evidence to validate or disprove the belief. You don't have to change your beliefs or convince others to change theirs, to simply listen. What I've learned to say, especially if the subject is heated, or even if it isn't, we must have different sources of information, which leaves the conversation on neutral ground. With 7+ billion people in the world, each with their own beliefs, we can have a much more civil society if we just took some time to get to know more about why someone believes a certain way. I'm certain that no one has ever changed their beliefs by force or coercion. You can agree to disagree, leaving behind the sense that they've been really heard and respected. I encourage you to give up the need to be right for the sake of peace. You can't change the world, but you can change your world, which changes the world in one split second by simply asking, isn't that interesting? Change your words, change your life. Don't you think the world would be a better place? Do you remember before internet when we actually had discussions and discourse and agree to disagree, handshake, and find the win-win, whatever. But listening with the people just want to be heard. This is bottom line. Everybody just wants to be heard about what they're saying and perhaps what they're not saying. That's important to me, and I'm sure to you as well. That's just one way of diffusing. Isn't that interesting? Tell me more. Why don't we learn more about how people got to their opinion? Just a good question, right? Good questions. I like good questions. Cause our brain to think a little more. Okay, here we go with chapter 5 already. I probably will just do 6 chapters, the first 6, because then the next 3 start with the gratitude. Yep. Okay, the word, the, T-H-E, one word, T-H-E, 3-letter word. There is one word that continues to perpetuate prejudice and hatred. I was told this by the late director of the Anne Frank Foundation, my friend Cornelius Sauk, the man that Otto Frank, Anne's father, entrusted the missing 8 pages of her diary. They were survivors of the Holocaust. Otto Frank said that there is one 3-letter word that causes so much division and prejudice in our world. The word is the, T-H-E. You even fathom what he's talking about there. But when we talked about this, and I was in Anne Frank, I was in Meet Geese's home. She's the lady who hid Anne Frank and the family. I got to know her. I was in her home on my retirement trip in 2008. She was 99 years old at that time. So what we learned here, though, is what he said is we would say the Jews in the Holocaust setting, right? The teenagers, the Christians, the homeless, the lawyers. That one may be true. Just kidding. It's an old lawyer joke. That's what I wrote in the book. Can you begin to see how by putting individual people into groups and defining the group as a whole, as good or bad or wrong or right or worthy or unworthy, we begin to dehumanize the individual and see them as all the same. It's really a very brilliant point and tragic. Hitler was able to turn friendly neighbors into the enemy by using propaganda, newsreels. The Jews that had been friends and neighbors in their communities became a group to be feared. Is it happening still? Duh. Take a stand against prejudice. If we are all in this world together. Everyone bleeds red as one race, the human race. Choose love over fear. Remove the label of "the" from your vocabulary. In a split second, one word can change your perspective. Shift from "the" to "we," the individual, with empathy. That's a big one. It's a hard one to describe sometimes, but don't you see? Have you ever been a part of a collective that had a bad connotation? It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't define who you are. But the group gets a definition, right? So let's watch that and let's change it. Chapter 6. Yes, and another smaller chapter, smaller one. Okay, yes, and. Here's a way to help you diffuse every disagreement before it becomes an argument. Wouldn't you like that? With some practice and changing just 2 words, you can maintain your stance and stay calm. For example, when your teen hasn't taken out the trash and has a dozen excuses, calmly say, yes, and. I hear you. And so let me say that again. So yes, and. Yes, I hear you and your stance. The trash is still here. They may say, yeah, but, with a dozen more excuses, and you calmly say, yes, I hear you and understand you're upset. And the trash is still here. No matter how many yeah, buts you hear, yes, and removes the emotions from the communication. Saying yeah, but escalates the arguments and diminishes your power. Yeah, but you did this, and yeah, but you did that, and yeah, but yeah, it just escalates it all up, right? Saying yes acknowledges that you're listening, and saying and means your stand is firm. My stance is, yeah, this is powerful. Yes, I understand that there are issues, and you promised me a raise. Yes, I understand that you are tired, and the dishes still need washing. Yes, I realize it's a special party, and you're still grounded. Doesn't it sound strong? It's not about, it's not about control. It's not about being right. It exhibits strength of character. I'm guessing that this one practice is more impactful in daily conversations for those that use it than most of the rest. Straightforward communication. What a concept. Yes, it takes practice, and it's worth it in a split second. 2 words that will change your life. This has been a very powerful, when I remember to use it, very powerful. It's like everybody wants to be heard. So it's not escalating an argument. Your teen is like, yes, and you're still grounded. Yes, I hear you. I know that party's important. And maybe, and you're still grounded. And perhaps you should have thought about that last week before disobedience. Anyway, those are just some thoughts that I have, and obviously it's important enough for me to put in a book. So this split-second transformation, change your words, change your life, 31 daily practices. I've got the next 3 chapters, and I'll do this next month on my solo Charla's Chat. We'll start with the gratitude chapters because it's part 1, part 2, and part 3. They're completely different chapters, and Gratitude is the key to everything. Gratitude opens the door to everything else. When you give thanks, thank you, thank you, thank you, it changes your state. Even if you don't like where you are, where else do you have to be than where you are right now? Be there and know that you are loved. You're loved. You're loved exactly who you are and where you are. You're loved by God. Nothing you can do to be loved more or less. This. I don't know if I've got this stuff in the book or not. I don't remember, but I do know that this is something that I'd like to say every week or very often, is that no matter who and where you are, love yourself enough. Love yourself enough to receive the love of God and the love of others. Love yourself enough, because every word matters. Every thought matters. If you don't like where you are right this second, you can't change how you got here, but you can change how the next step, where you're headed, right? So this is Charla Anderson. Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating. And I'm already almost halfway through season 3. Well, not quite, probably a quarter way. But who would have thought? And here, I'm just, I'm grateful that somehow or another we're beginning to get some attention. So would you please just like and subscribe on my YouTube channel? Go to Charla Anderson. The way to find it, the easiest way, go to charlaanderson.com and /podcast or charlaanderson.com and click on podcasts, and all of my shows are in there and in a blog format, as well as the YouTube to click on. So would you do that? I would really appreciate that, getting a little bit more. I've never been one to care about numbers and such, but it does affect things, right? So if you don't mind, I appreciate that like. I'm also going to say one more thing. I tell you what, I've run across Zinzino, a product that every person on the face of the earth can take, like I call them babies to ages. And 97% of the world and 99% of North America needs to take to get your omega in balance. Everybody's got lots of omega-6s because they're inflammatory. We need a lot more omega-3s to balance it out. We've got a company that has figured out how to do that in a very simple, very, very, very simple, cost-effective daily solution. 3-second solution every day. A little shot of Balance Oil Plus. It's off the charts, and you're going to be hearing about it. Honestly, they're positioning to be the number one. They are the number one test-based personalized nutrition company in the world. They're positioned to take that into being the number one direct selling company in the world. I believe they will do it. Amazing products, amazing people, and amazing timing for such a time as this. This is Charla Anderson signing off this week. And thank you for paying attention, listening, sharing, and just being there for me. Reach out if you ever have any questions. I'm an encourager, right? I'm a mindset coach. I will help you get those words straightened out. Thank you. And don't forget, choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show, encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.